All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. This time we're going way back to the book of Genesis, to a story almost everyone's heard in some form, the flood.
Oh yeah, definitely a classic, and one that still sparks debate and discussion even today.
Exactly. Most folks focus on the big picture, a world submerged, an ark full of animals. But we're going deeper, looking at those specific details, the things that make this ancient story tick. Like, why did God tell Noah to take 7 pairs of some animals and only 2 of others?
It's a really interesting detail when you think about it. The text specifically says 7 pairs of clean animals.
Clean animals meaning?
The animals considered suitable for sacrifice. Those got 7 pairs, while the unclean ones only got 2 of each. And that actually tells us a lot about how ancient people saw the world.
How so?
Well, it shows they saw a clear order, even a hierarchy, in nature. Some animals were simply more important, maybe even sacred. It's a different way of looking at nature than we do today with our scientific classifications.
It's like they're preserving a microcosm of their society, even as the world is ending. Fascinating. Okay, so we've got the ark, we've got the animals, but this wasn't some quick dip in the bathtub. The text actually breaks the flood down day by day, almost like an ancient disaster log. So let's start at the beginning. 40 days and 40 nights of rain.
Can you imagine? Just constant rain drumming down on the ark day and night for 40 days straight.
That's over a month.
It really drives home the idea of nature's raw power completely unleashed.
And then, after 40 days, silence. The rain stops. I can only imagine the eerie quiet, this wooden ark bobbing on a world of water. But the story doesn't end there, does it?
No, not at all. The text goes on to say that even after the rain stopped, the waters kept rising. It wasn't just rainfall that caused this flood.
So what was it then? Where was all this water coming from?
Well, the book of Genesis uses this really vivid phrase. It says, the fountains of the great deep burst open.
The fountains of the great deep.
It suggests something more cosmic, more foundational is at work here. It's like the very structure of the world was shaken loose.
That's a powerful image. Now, amidst all this chaos, there's another detail I find really interesting. We always hear about Noah's Ark as if he was sailing solo, but he had his whole family on board, right?
That's right. His wife, his sons, and their wives were all on that ark, all navigating this terrifying ordeal together.
And that really adds another layer to the story, doesn't it? It's not just about one man's survival, but about the continuation of family, of a lineage, ultimately, of humanity itself.
Absolutely. And this idea of continuity, of new beginnings, actually goes beyond Noah's immediate family. The text describes the flood as wiping out all flesh with the breath of life, not just people.
Right. All flesh with the breath of life. It emphasizes that this was a reset for the whole world, for every living creature. And after 150 days, the waters recede. What's the significance of that moment, that turning point in the larger story of Genesis?
It represents a new beginning, a clean slate for creation. Remember, we're still in the early chapters of Genesis. The flood, as destructive as it was, paves the way for a new covenant between God and humanity, a fresh start.
It's almost like hitting the reset button on the world. So we've looked at the flood narrative from Genesis, the details, the timeline, the implications. And it's a story that continues to echo through time, popping up in art, in literature, even in today's disaster movies. Why do you think this ancient story still resonates with people today?
It could be a reminder of how vulnerable we are to nature's power, a power we can't control. Or maybe it's a story about judgment and the possibility of redemption. We make mistakes, sometimes with huge consequences, but there's always the hope of a second chance. Or maybe, at its core, it's just a story about the resilience of life itself, how even after the most devastating events, life finds a way to return.
Wow. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's a story that makes us think about those big questions: creation, destruction, humanity's relationship with the divine. And those are questions that are just as relevant now as they were thousands of years ago. So there you have it, another deep dive. We've just scratched the surface, really, but hopefully we've given you something to ponder, something to chew on. Until next time, keep asking questions and keep diving